I want you to picture this scene. It's 3:00 a.m. You're in the intensive care unit, a big city hospital. It's quiet, eerily quiet, except for those, those steady beeps from the machines keeping people alive. A nurse, she's hurrying over to a computer, needs to check the chart, the vitals, medication for a patient. Big surgery scheduled in just a few hours, life-saving stuff. But the screen, it's not the usual blue interface she expects. It's red, blazing red, and there's this message flashing. Stark. Terrifying.
Your data has been encrypted. All files are locked.
Yeah.
Just like that.
She tries the next computer. Same message. Calls the supervisor. Frantic. And they find the whole network. It's just seizing up. Terminal by terminal. Server by server.
The hospital's digital core, patient records, surgery schedules, prescriptions, lab results, even payroll and billing. Gone. Inaccessible. Locked tight.
And then comes the demand. Right there in the middle of this chaos, this paralysis, an encrypted text file pops up everywhere. It's a ransom note. They want $10 million in Bitcoin for the keys to unlock their own systems.
And that right there, it's not some TV drama scene. It's real. It's the reality of ransomware today. It's hitting hospitals, crippling them. It's hitting schools, governments, huge companies, anyone, really.
The paralysis is just total. Your ability to function, to ship a product, make money, or, in the hospital's case, deliver critical care, it just vanishes in minutes. And this really gets to the heart of the risk businesses face now. What if that was your business, your database, customer lists, your whole life's work, just gone, held hostage, and you got this impossible choice: pay a fortune, or maybe, just maybe, shut down for good.
Yeah, the threat's growing like crazy. But, where there's a huge, scary threat like this, there's usually also a huge opportunity for someone who can fix it. So today, that's what we're diving into. We're looking at a company called Rubrik. The ticker is RBRK. Their whole pitch, their whole reason for being is that they've solved this. They claim they've built this un-pickable digital vault, a way to guarantee recovery.
Okay, let's get into it. Welcome back to the deep dive.
So, our mission today: demystify this whole data security nightmare, figure out why the old ways failed so badly against ransomware, unpack what Rubrik is actually doing differently with their tech, and then, look at the business side of it. Can you really make a business out of being the ultimate digital safety net?
Absolutely. And I think to really get why Rubrik might be onto something, you first have to understand the problem. Why was the old backup market, this multi-billion-dollar industry, just completely caught flat-footed by modern cyber attacks?
Right. Let's use that house analogy we like. Your data, your company's information, it's like a house full of valuable stuff. For years, decades even, security was all about the front door, right?
Yeah.
Build a really strong door. That was your firewall. Keep the bad guys out. Exactly. And that worked okay for a while, against simpler threats coming from the outside, phishing emails, maybe denial of service attacks, stuff like that. But the game completely changed maybe about 10 years back. Attackers got smarter. They realized it wasn't about battering down the front door. It was easier to find a little crack somewhere, maybe steal someone's login, trick an employee with a clever email, and just slip inside the house quietly.
And that's where ransomware comes in. The digital kidnapper. It's not even trying to steal your stuff and sell it anymore. It's about paralysis. It gets inside, hides, waits.
Waits. Finds your most important things. Your financial records, your designs, your customer data, shoves it all into this super secure digital safe that only the attacker has the key to. And then, bam, pay up or you never see your stuff again. The data's still there, technically, but it's useless to you.
So the obvious question everyone asks is, wait, why can't they just restore from backup? Didn't they have copies? Isn't that what backups are for?
And that is the core failure. The exact reason the old backup market was seen as, well, frankly, unsexy and just stagnant before companies like Rubrik came along around 2014, the founders saw this huge gap. The old systems had these two massive fatal flaws when facing a smart human attacker.
Okay, flaw number one. You called it the connectivity problem, or the burning shed analogy.
Yeah, the burning shed. I like that one too. Think about it this way. Your house is on fire. Now, you were smart. You made copies of all your valuables. You put them in a shed out back. That's your backup.
Seems safe enough. Separate building.
But here's the catch. For convenience, for speed, so you could easily move files back and forth, that shed, your backup system, was almost always connected to the main house network. Logically connected anyway.
I see where this is going. So the attacker gets into the main house network, starts the fire, encrypts everything.
And because that connection exists, that trusted pathway is already there, they just hop right over to the shed and encrypt the backups too, simultaneously. No extra effort needed.
So the backup wasn't really separate in the way that mattered.
Not against an intelligent attacker, no. These old systems, they were designed for accidents. Someone hits delete, a server fails, maybe a flood, a fire, physical stuff, or simple errors. They weren't designed to fight someone who's already inside and actively trying to destroy both the original data and the copies. If the attacker can see the backup is toast.
Okay, that makes a scary amount of sense. They just treat the backup server like any other target on the network. But you said there were two flaws. What's the second one? The infection problem, or backing up the kidnapper. That sounds even worse. How does restoring not fix it?
This one is really insidious. It relies on something called dwell time. See, sophisticated ransomware doesn't just smash and grab. It gets in maybe through that compromised login we talked about, and then it just sits there, hides, waits.
For how long?
Weeks, sometimes months. For big organizations, the average dwell time can be like 28 days or even longer.
Wow, so it's just lurking.
Exactly. And while it's lurking, completely undetected, what's the organization doing? Running its backups. Daily, maybe even hourly. So they are diligently, perfectly backing up the ransomware itself. The digital kidnapper is right there, dormant, inside those clean backup files.
Oh, no. So when the attack finally happens, the encryption starts, the alarms go off, the IT team wipes the main systems.
Right. They think, okay, disaster averted, let's restore from yesterday's backup. But what they're actually doing is reinstalling the malware. They're inviting the attacker right back in through the front door, basically.
Yeah.
It guarantees reinfection.
Because the old backup system had no clue it was backing up something malicious?
Precisely. No intelligence to scan inside the backup file for dormant threats, and no architecture to truly isolate those backups from the live network and prevent changes. They were built for data recovery after accidents, not after intentional stealthy infiltration by a human mind. That massive gap, that failure to protect against intent, that was the opportunity Rubrik's founder saw.
And their whole approach starts from a different place. Assume the attacker's already inside. Assume your primary systems will be compromised. So your backups have to be fundamentally different, unreachable, unchangeable.
That's the core idea. And it connects back to the CEO, Bipul Sinha. His story is pretty interesting here. He wasn't some lifelong security engineer. He was this successful VC, comfortable job, but he left that to start Rubrik.
Why? What was the motivation?
He talks about his background. Grew up pretty poor in rural India. His father was an entrepreneur who failed, lost everything. And Sinha said he learned this powerful lesson from his dad. Failure is never permanent. There always has to be a way back.
So he saw data backup the way it was failing businesses during ransomware attacks as this failed market, a place where recovery wasn't guaranteed when you needed it most.
Exactly. That idea of guaranteed recovery, of always having a path back after a disaster, that became the mission. He left the VC world to build what he called a better vault.
Okay, so let's unpack this better vault. You mentioned 3 pillars, 3 core technical ideas that make it different.
That's right. 3 key things that tackle both the connectivity and the infection problems we just talked about.
Let's start with the foundation. Pillar 1, data immutability. Sounds technical, but you said it just means unchangeable, right? But how do they actually make the data unchangeable? That's the tech.
Right. Immutable just means it can't be altered. The key is how they enforce it. Rubrik takes a snapshot, a perfect copy of your data, and stores it in their system, the Rubrik Security Cloud. But the crucial part is how it's stored. They use a system that's conceptually similar to write once, read many, or worm technology.
Worm, okay, like writing something once and then it's fixed.
Pretty much. Once that backup data is written onto Rubrik Secure Storage, the system itself, by its very design, locks it down. It will not allow anyone, not an external attacker, not even an internal administrator with the highest privileges, not even the CEO, to change, encrypt, or delete that backup copy before its preset retention period expires.
So it's not just off-network, it's like written in concrete, or that pen analogy, written in permanent ink on special paper that can't be erased or written over.
Exactly. The attacker can compromise the main network, gain admin rights, try to reach out and destroy the backups like they used to. But the Rubrik architecture just says no. Access denied. Change impossible. The integrity is built in at the lowest level.
That's powerful. That guarantees you always have a clean copy to go back to. That must be the killer feature, right? You mentioned an early customer story.
Yeah, the sources highlight it. A company got hit hard by ransomware, totally paralyzed. But because they had Rubrik's immutable backups, they were able to restore everything, get fully back online in just a few hours, not days or weeks.
Yeah.
Hours. That speed, that certainty of recovery is huge.
Okay, so immutability guarantees the copy is safe. But the attacker might still be inside the main network, right? Still poking around, trying to cause damage or steal other things. That leads to pillar two, zero trust.
Exactly. Zero trust tackles the attacker already inside problem head on. The old security model was like a castle, right?
Yeah.
Strong walls, a moat, your firewall.
Yeah.
If you got past the gate, you were basically trusted. You could wander around inside pretty freely.
Which is how attackers move laterally, compromise one machine, then hop to the next, find the important server.
Because zero trust flips that completely. The core philosophy is trust no one. Assume every user, every device, every connection on the network could be compromised, even if they're already inside the castle.
How do you even operate like that? Sounds like constant paranoia.
It's enforced technologically using something called microsegmentation. Instead of one big open internal network, the zero trust architecture carves it up into tiny, isolated zones or segments. Think of partitioning the house into hundreds of small, locked rooms.
Okay, so if an attacker compromises, say, my laptop.
They're trapped in that one tiny room, that one microsegment. To get to the next room to access a different server, a different database, they have to prove who they are again. Re-authenticate. Show they have explicit permission for that specific action, for that specific room.
So it makes moving around, escalating privileges, finding the crown jewels incredibly difficult, like navigating a maze with locked doors at every turn.
Precisely. It dramatically limits the blast radius. An attacker might get in, but their ability to do widespread damage or even find the immutable backup bolt is severely constrained by needing constant verification for every single step.
Okay, immutable copy safe, pillar one, attacker movement restricted, pillar two. But we still have that lurking infection problem. How do we know which backup copy is safe to restore? How do we avoid restoring the hidden kidnapper? That's pillar three, the AI part.
Yes, pillar three, the AI digital bloodhound. This is where artificial intelligence becomes really practical, not just hype. The AI's job is to constantly monitor the data, the network traffic, everything happening inside the organization's digital house.
Like a security guard doing constant patrols.
More like a bloodhound, constantly sniffing. But instead of smells, it's sniffing data patterns. It's not just looking for known virus signatures that's old tech. This AI learns what's normal for your specific company. Who logs in when? From where? Which servers usually talk to each other? What does typical file access look like across different departments? It builds a baseline of normal behavior.
Okay, it learns normal. Then what?
Then, the instant it detects something weird, something that deviates significantly from that learned baseline, it starts barking. Loudly.
What kind of weird stuff?
It could be anything anomalous. A user account that normally accesses 10 files a day suddenly trying to read or encrypt thousands at 3 a.m. Or a server suddenly trying to make connections it never makes. Or just a sudden, unexplained spike in data encryption activity. The AI spots the anomaly against the normal pattern.
And because it's been watching all along, it knows.
It knows two critical things for recovery. First, what systems or files are being affected by the weird activity? Second, and this is crucial for avoiding reinfection, it knows exactly when that weird activity started.
Ah, so you don't have to guess which backup tape from last week might be clean.
Exactly. No more guessing games. The AI pinpoints the start of the attack. So the IT team can say, okay, the attack began at 3:17 a.m. They can then use Rubrik to instantly rewind and restore only the affected files from the immutable snapshot taken at, say, 3:10 a.m., just minutes before the trouble started. Surgical recovery. Clean data only. No kidnapper restored.
That's the precision needed. And you mentioned an AI assistant too. Ruby, what does that do? Sounds like it helps the humans during the crisis.
That's exactly its role. Think about it. When an attack hits, the IT and security teams are underwater. Panic, pressure, tons of logs to analyze, complex recovery procedures across maybe multiple cloud environments.
Yeah, stressful doesn't even begin to cover it.
So Ruby acts like an AI co-pilot. It analyzes the situation, explains what's happening in plain English. We've detected anomalous encryption activity starting at this time, affecting these servers. It can generate reports you might need for insurance or regulators, and it can even suggest and automate the recovery steps based on best practices.
So instead of a frantic admin trying to figure out the sequence, Ruby might say, recommend rolling back servers X, Y, and Z to the 3:10 a.m. snapshot. Click here to execute.
Pretty much. It streamlines the response, reduces the chance of human error under pressure, and gets the business back online faster and more safely. It's the combination of all three, immutability, zero trust, and this AI bloodhound with Ruby, that forms Rubrik's claim to not just defend, but truly guarantee recovery.
Okay, that's a really clear picture of the tech. Powerful stuff. But if you're building a business on this, how do you actually charge for it? Let's shift gears, put on our investor hats. How does Rubrik, the company, RBRK, actually make money being this digital safety net?
Right. So Rubrik went public, had its IPO fairly recently, April 2024. And its business model is very much the modern standard for software companies. Software as a service, SaaS.
So back to the vault analogy. You don't buy the giant steel vault and install it yourself. You're basically renting access to the secure facility, paying a regular fee.
Exactly. Customers subscribe to the Rubrik Security Cloud platform. They pay a recurring fee, usually billed annually, based on how much data they're protecting or which features they're using.
And that subscription model is key for investors, isn't it? Predictability.
Hugely important. It creates what the market loves. Annual recurring revenue, or ARR. Think about the difference between, say, a car salesman who has a great month, then maybe a terrible one, versus Netflix or Spotify. Netflix knows pretty reliably how much money is coming in next month from its existing subscribers. That predictability, that recurring revenue stream, is like gold to investors. It makes the business seem much more stable and valuable.
Okay, let's build the case for Rubrik. The bull case. Why are the optimists excited about this stock, RBRK?
Well, point number one is just the sheer size and urgency of the market they're playing in. This isn't some niche software for accountants. As we discussed, every organization, hospitals, schools, banks, manufacturers, governments, you name it, is a potential customer because ransomware is an existential threat to literally everyone with data.
And the market size reflects that.
It's enormous. The sources estimate this whole data security and management market, the total addressable market, or TAM, could hit nearly $53 billion by 2027. So you've got this massive growing pie driven by intense customer pain. That's a powerful tailwind.
What else, beyond just the market size?
The second point is their technology foundation and partnerships. Rubrik was born in the cloud era. It's not an old company trying to bolt cloud features onto legacy tech. It was designed cloud native. And they have tight strategic partnerships with the big cloud players, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Amazon AWS.
So as companies move more and more data to the cloud,
Rubrik is right there, positioned perfectly to secure that data wherever it lives, on-premise, in the cloud, or usually a hybrid mix of both. They ride that huge wave of cloud migration.
and you mentioned they're looking beyond just backup towards AI.
Yeah, this is a really interesting potential growth vector. Companies want to use their own private data to train custom AI models, but they're terrified of that sensitive data leaking out during the process. Rubrik is building tools specifically to secure that AI training data, ensuring data privacy and lineage. That could open up entirely new high-value markets for them. It's not just about recovery anymore. It's about enabling secure innovation.
Okay, huge market, good tech positioning. What's the third big point for the bulls?
This might be the most important one for investors right now. Customer stickiness. How well do they keep customers, and how much more do those customers spend over time? The key metric here is net revenue retention, or NRR.
Right, NRR, what was the number?
In a recent quarter, while their overall subscription revenue, AR, grew a strong 36%, their NRR was over 120%.
Okay, 120%. That sounds good, but break that down. Why is that specific number, over 100%, so significant?
Because it tells you two amazing things are happening. First, the 100% part means basically all their existing customers from last year are still customers this year. Churn is incredibly low. They're keeping everyone.
Which is great in itself.
But the hort plus 20% part is the magic. It means that, on average, those existing customers are spending 20% more with Rubrik this year than they did last year. They're buying more services, protecting more data, adding features like identity protection or advanced threat hunting.
So Rubrik isn't just acquiring new customers. They're successfully upselling and cross-selling to the ones they already have. They land, then they expand.
Exactly. Once a customer experiences that guaranteed recovery, that peace of mind from the immutable backups, they tend to buy more and more security services from Rubrik. It gets deeply embedded in their operations. The cost and risk of switching out Rubrik become huge. That high NRR, over 120%, signals a really sticky, expanding, and financially powerful customer base. That's the core of the bull argument.
Okay, that's a compelling case. Huge market, tech edge, sticky customer spending more. But that $53 billion market, it's going to attract a fight. Let's flip the coin. The bear case. Yeah. What are the risks? What keeps the skeptics worried about RBRK?
Well, the first one is exactly what you said, competition. It's brutal. That huge market attracts sharks. You've got modern rivals like Cohesity, which started around the same time, also cloud native, fighting for the same deals, often claiming similar tech.
And then the old guard.
And then you have the legacy giants, companies like Commvault, Veeam, Dell, EMC. They dominated the old backup market. They have massive installed bases, huge sales forces, long-standing relationships with big enterprises, and very deep pockets.
So what's the worry there? Are they catching up on the tech?
They're certainly trying. They're scrambling to add cloud features, offer immutability options, maybe acquire smaller tech companies. They're trying to retrofit their older architectures for this new world. The bear argument is, sure, Rubrik had an early lead being cloud native, but is that lead sustainable? Can these giants, with all their resources and existing customer relationships, eventually offer good enough solutions, maybe at a lower price, and slow Rubrik's growth? It's a constant battle.
Makes sense. What's the second big concern for the bears?
It's the classic Silicon Valley growth story dilemma. High growth, high spending, no profit yet. Rubrik is growing fast, yes, but it's spending a ton of money to do it. Massive investment in R&D to stay ahead technologically. Even bigger spending on sales and marketing to win those customers and drive that 120% NRR.
So they're burning cash.
They have been. They're prioritizing grabbing market share now over showing a profit today. Now, there was a positive sign recently that the sources mentioned. They hit positive free cash flow, which means operationally more cash came in than went out in that period. That's good. But actual bottom line profit, the kind accountants measure as net income, most analysts think that's still potentially years away. That level of spending makes some investors nervous. They want to see a clear path to profitability sooner rather than later.
Okay. Intense competition, burning cash. What's the third main risk?
It ties into the spending and the hype. Valuation. Because it's a hot company in a critical sector telling a great growth story. The stock, RBRK, is expensive. It trades at a high multiple of its sales, not its earnings, because there are no earnings yet.
Meaning investors are paying a premium price today based on the expectation of huge growth for many years into the future.
Exactly. They're pricing in perfection, or close to it. And that creates a really tricky situation for the stock. The company has to not just meet expectations, but consistently beat them, often by a wide margin, just to keep the stock price up.
And this is where that specific event you mentioned comes in. September 2025. What happened there?
Yeah, that's the cautionary tale right there. Yeah. September 2025, Rubrik reports its quarterly results. And by objective measures, it was a good quarter. They actually beat the consensus estimates from Wall Street analysts for both their revenue and their earnings, or rather their losses were smaller than expected. They did well.
Okay, so the stock went up.
Nope, it plunged, down 15% in a single day.
Why? If they beat estimates.
Because of the outlook. When they gave their forecast, their guidance for the next quarter, it was fine. It showed continued growth. But it wasn't spectacular, it wasn't blow the doors off amazing. And because the stock was already priced for that kind of spectacular, mind-blowing growth, just delivering good or great wasn't enough. Wall Street panicked.
Wow, so the lesson is?
The lesson is crucial for anyone listening. A great company solving a real problem with cool tech, like immutability and AI, isn't automatically a great stock at its current price. You have to consider the expectations already baked into that price. If the valuation is sky high, even solid performance can lead to disappointment and a falling stock.
That perfectly illustrates the risk side. Good company maybe, but potentially risky stock if the price is too high.
Exactly. The market demands that premium growth keeps accelerating. Anything less can hurt shareholders, even if the business itself is doing fine.
This has been incredibly insightful, really breaking down a complex area. Let's try and pull it all together now. Bring it back to the core idea.
Okay, let's go back one last time. That nurse. 3:00 a.m. Staring at that lock screen, that ransom demand.
Yeah, the whole Rubrik story, when you boil it down, it's really a bet, isn't it? It's a bet that in our completely digital world where breaches feel almost inevitable, where the attacker might already be inside, the single most valuable thing you can sell is certainty. It's the guaranteed ability to hit rewind after disaster strikes.
Yeah, the ability to get back to business, to restore trust in minutes or hours, not weeks or months, paying ransoms. That's the core value proposition.
So for everyone listening, our goal here isn't investment advice. It's about giving you the tools to think critically, like an investor when you hear about companies like this, especially in complex tech spaces.
And the key is to cut through the jargon. Don't get bogged down in the technical weeds immediately.
Instead, ask yourself these 3 simple but really powerful questions about any company you're trying to understand.
Question 1. What fundamental problem does this company solve? For Rubrik, it's the catastrophic business paralysis caused by ransomware and the fact that old backup methods just didn't work against smart attackers.
Question 2. How big and how painful is that problem for customers? For Rubrik, it's massive, global, billions of dollars, and it's incredibly painful, potentially business-ending. That makes customers highly motivated to find a real solution.
And question 3, how specifically does the company make money solving that problem? For Rubrik, it's that predictable subscription-based SaaS model, selling access to their security cloud, fueled by that sticky customer base that keeps spending more, that 120% plus NRR.
If you can answer those three questions clearly, in simple terms, you've basically got the framework. You're thinking like an investor, understanding the why and the how, not just the what.
Absolutely. And maybe one final thought to leave people with, building on how serious this threat is. We focused a lot on hospitals, on businesses. But think about other critical sectors.
Like what?
Think about, say, critical infrastructure, power grids, water treatment plants. What happens if their systems get locked by ransomware and they can't reliably rewind? Or think about financial systems, the networks that clear trillions of dollars in trades every day. Or even core government functions, like election systems or citizen databases.
If they can't trust their data, if they can't guarantee a quick recovery, the impact goes way beyond one company's bottom line, right? It hits supply chains, national security, maybe even trust in democracy itself.
Exactly. That inability to rewind, that loss of data integrity. It's not just a corporate risk anymore. In our totally connected world, it's becoming a potential societal vulnerability. Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. This has been a fantastic deep dive. Thank you.
My pleasure. It's a critical topic.
And thank you all for joining us. Until next time, keep digging.